Thank you all for joining us for this WOW session. Now I'd like to introduce our pause to play segment, and we got one crazy guy leading us down this path. I'd like to introduce Russ Thomas. Russ, I'm wearing this bow tie just for you. And I introduce you have a sidekick working with you today, Nick Perlman. So Russ, why don't you take it away here?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's always good to have a sidekick like Nick, you know. I mean, once you're past, Nick. Sorry. But we got an exciting venue for you today. We got a great team. When Denise comes on and he gives you the WOW presentation, Nick and I are going to start off a presentation for you so that we can show it to you. But, you know, sometimes we just got to pump up the volume in what we're doing. And let's see what's shaking. But when I talk about pumping up the volume, I'm talking about pumping up the volume. We got to get excited. We got to get things going. So we got to start things the right way, get out of our comfort zone and change our paradigms the way we're thinking and moving. So we're going to teach you how to move from pause to play. My goodness, we've been on pause for over a year. And in some places, you're still on pause. And I'm thinking in order for us to move forward, this is the right time. So we got to get off that pause. Everybody knows what that pause button is. So we got it. It's testing us. It's the things, the way we're looking at things, the way we're doing things, the way we perform in our daily life. We just kind of set back. People are ready today. They are anxious. They're primed for the picking, so to speak. Items has affected us in our personal lives, our daily lives, just everyday circumstances. So we got to quit thinking about the obstacles, start looking toward the future. So today our world is reopening, at least in parts of the country and parts of the world. Be safe, follow the signs. It's time to move forward, and it's time to what, Nick?
To hit the play button. We're ready for prime time. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been homebound too long. I'm hungry to get out there and make things happen. And I think most of our friends and neighbors are anxious to get re-engaged. And they're just waiting for someone to ask us. And that's what leadership has to do. Now, we certainly have to operate within the confines of still the pandemic is still with us. It's getting, I think, better all the time. But we've got to get out there and we got to start moving from inaction to being in action. So we got to move forward in our optimism. We recognize the power within us to make a difference, and celebrate our optimism by moving forward. And our mission is to spread the philosophy of optimism, make this world a better place based on the tenets of our Optimist creed. We can do that. We can do that right now. We can do that everywhere we go. We can do it online and particularly do it out in the public. We've got to show people that you can be happy, be resilient, and be successful even with the challenges facing us, because we have to renew our commitment to optimism and our mission of where we're going to make this world a better place, as well as make ourselves a better place. We got to stay focused on our message. And sometimes we can get distracted with all the things going around us, but we need to stay focused. Even that, we've got to up our game. We need to hit the fast forward button. And one of the things that you're going to hear about in just a few minutes is that we're changing now. We all know what a now event or a now program is. We're going from now to WOW. And we're going to show you and talk about not a one and done type of project, but WOW is with us all the time. We're using it every day. Every time we have a project, every time we have an activity, we're using WOW. Because members are the center of our universe, and we bring those new members in. We all know they bring new ideas, new energy, new leadership, and sometimes they even give us a new direction for our club and our organization. So remember, the best is yet to come.
Wow, Nick, thanks so much for that. And Mike, we're going to hand it back to you to get to my all-star team, Denise and the membership group. So we're back to you, my friend.
Thank you, Russ. Thank you, Nick. Hey, now it's time to introduce our WOW team, which is led by Denise Nasev. And Denise, please take it away and introduce your WOW team to us.
So I'm so excited to be able to bring you this brand new program that is going to help you to wow your clubs. And like Nick and Russ said, go from pause to play. So Diana, who is with me from California, want to say a few words about yourself?
I got my cup of coffee. Not that I'm not an early riser, but it's 8 o'clock California time. And I'm sorry I'm not as green as the rest of you because I am a good Irish. I couldn't be more excited to be here. I couldn't be more honored to have been because I so believe we were on the precipice of such a change. Like Russ said, the paradigm shift is here and we as optimists, we're ready to make it. I'm ready to make it and I'm excited about us presenting to you today. So I'm honored to be here with you today. Thank you.
Creating something that was more relevant to the current times. How do we create a virtual? How do we do all of that? And my committee got together, our little committee got together, which was Diana, myself, and Mikey Bowles. And we talked about, yes, we needed to update the NOW program. The challenge was the NOW program is so instilled in our culture and in the way that we work that actually changing that would be a challenge. So we thought, well, why don't we go in a partner program and call it WOW, Welcome Optimist Worldwide. So what this meant is that we were going to look at how can we create a program that is going to do a bunch of things. I want to show you what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk a little bit about what is happening in the volunteer space, so some research on volunteering. Solving the membership puzzle. So what is the WOW program? Then we're going to talk about some examples and ideas and resources so that you can go out and implement this right away in your clubs. So trends in volunteering. A couple of years ago, I worked for a not-for-profit and I had to do a research project on what is currently happening in the volunteer space. And I found that a lot of this is really relevant to us because we are looking for volunteers and we need to understand what our current volunteers want. So the first and most important thing, and this goes directly to what Nick and Russ said, is that volunteers want group activities that allow them to interact with people they might not have met otherwise. So how many of you on this call have met someone you would not have met without Optimist International? Every hand should go up. So people are looking for that opportunity to interact with people that they wouldn't meet in their regular sphere of everyday life, and they want group activities. We are social people. We like and we crave that social opportunity. So this is one of the things that we need to keep at the forefront. This next one was interesting. Professionals want to do something different from their work life. So how many of you have recruited an accountant and said, there's the perfect treasurer? Surprise, they may not want to be the perfect treasurer. They may want to do something completely different. So we need to allow our volunteers to have the flexibility that goes into the next one to volunteer when they want and how they want. So in other words, if I'm an accountant, okay, I might want to be your treasurer, and I might look at you and say, oh my goodness, I look at numbers all day. The last thing I want to do when I'm volunteering is look at numbers again. So we want to give them that flexibility. The next one is a bit of a challenge for us because volunteers do not always want to make that long-term commitment. Sometimes they want to be in, volunteer for a few hours a week and come out. We again need to be flexible. Yes, we want to recruit them as members, but we need to give them the flexibility again to volunteer when and how they want. We want them to become members, but we need them to understand that as a member, they are not required to attend absolutely everything we do. It's difficult for volunteers in this space to be able to say, yes, you're having a bingo and a meeting, and then we have a community service event, and then we have this. They can't do it all. The last one, really important. Volunteers have their own goals they want to achieve. So what I mean by that is volunteers come with an idea of what volunteering means to them and what they want to accomplish. So for example, I might be a volunteer and I want to learn more about accounting. Maybe I want to become a treasurer because I want to learn more about it. We need to allow our volunteers to articulate, why are they joining your club? Why are they coming to volunteer? Do they get that absolute joy that all of us get from the smile on the child's face? So they want to have that absolute direct interaction. Are they super stoked and excited to plan a community service event? Do they have fantastic fundraising ideas? And maybe they want to be able to say, you know what, I raised X number of dollars for this organization. we need to give them the time and the space to articulate. So one thing we want to keep in mind throughout this entire WOW program, it's about that grassroots member that joins your club. Members do not join Optimist International. They join the Optimist Club of Burlington, the Optimist Club of Ancaster. They join the local club to be able to impact their community. Then they learn about Optimist International, and then maybe they become leaders within the organization. But their first place they come, your club. So here's some types of volunteering. Skills-based. So I talked about this, that sometimes professionals don't want to volunteer where they work or in the same field as they work. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they want to be able to bring their skills to a totally different space and to a totally different organization. Maybe you have a carpenter who wants to come and work with Habitat for Humanity because they want to be able to share that carpenter skill. Maybe you have a project manager who wants to come along and organize stuff for you because that's what they're really good at, and they can see themselves having an impact based on that skill. Employer supported. This is a huge trend that is happening in that some employers are not only encouraging, but requiring employees to volunteer with an organization. Often they will give time off for that employee to be able to volunteer. I spent 5 years working for BlackBerry, and of those 5 years, they paid for me to go to international convention 3 years in a row because they felt it was professional development. So we need to keep this in mind that, maybe we need to start approaching employers to be their volunteer organization of choice. So that when a big organization, not that BlackBerry is big anymore, let's say Apple, goes out and says, employees, go volunteer, and here's one of our recommended organizations, Optimist International. So what are the companies in your communities that you can approach about becoming their charity or their organization of record? The final one, family. Children often choose an organization their parent volunteered with. I'm a second-generation optimist. I have third-generation optimists in my house who have both been Joy members, or one is currently and one is a past, and is now an adult Optimist member. Or they choose an organization they can volunteer with their family. So here's the example I always tell people. When my children were toddlers, my husband and I were both Optimist members. But realistically, we were not going to pay a babysitter to babysit our children so we could go to an Optimist meeting or an Optimist event. So perfect would be if I could bring my children with me. So what my local club did is they turned around and said, okay, we have a whole bunch of members who have young children who are missing important events because they don't have someone to watch their kids. We approached high school students and who needed volunteer hours and said, you come and occupy the children, either in the same room or in another room, so that our members can attend the events and the meetings. When our Joy Club came into play, we said to our Joy Club, this is your job. Your job is to keep the little ones occupied so their parents can now participate fully in the Optimist organization. We need to think flexible. I hate the terms think outside the box because as a profession, I'm a process improvement expert, so I'm constantly thinking outside the box. But realistically, if we are allowing our members to articulate what they need from us, then we need to figure out how to say yes. Just like we have to ask them to join, we need to ask them what they need from us. We don't want to put up roadblocks for their membership. We want to be that organization that says, come, we're inclusive. We don't care. Come, join us. Be part of our family. Be part of our organization. And then what will happen is they will say to their friends, hey, look, we've joined this great organization. Did you know we can bring the kids? Did you know everything they do supports kids and our kids can participate? There's a myth that young families or young parents don't volunteer. That is so not true. We volunteer where our kids are welcome. We volunteer with their sports league. We volunteer in their schools. We volunteer in those spaces. So as optimists, we need to become that place that parents want to come and volunteer. We have the privilege of being able to directly impact the youth, whether it is through our Joy membership, our oratorical contest, our internet safety, our youth safety. We have that opportunity, and we really, really need to let it be known. We really need to let our communities know that we're here for the youth. And in the process, we're making our community and ourselves better. So that's a couple of things that are just really important that I want you to keep in the back of your mind as Diana starts to go through, what is this WOW program? What are we trying to do to create that constant, like Nick said, not the one and done. Membership recruiting is not a one and done. It is something we do all the time. So Diana, I'm passing it over to you.
Okay, thank you so much for, again, having us both and being able to share this. So again, we're going to say a lot of the same words, and I think that we're also tapping into the same thing that Russ and Nick were saying. It is no longer pause. It is play, 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 play. So with WOW, one of the things that we worked through is when we were kids, we did the 3 R's, reading, arithmetic, and writing. And now we're looking at the 4 R's, recruiting, revitalizing, renewing, retaining, and we kind of divided it up into our 4 quarters. In the beginning, you recruit those new members. You want to get your year going. So that's a time to really say, okay, let's get some of those new members. And then as you move through, things kind of slow down a little bit. It's the holidays, but you've got to keep those members. You've got to keep our clubs revitalized. So this is a place where you do something different. Maybe have one of those WOW meetings. How do you keep your members, your new ones, your current ones, focused on what your mission is? And then we're coming after the new year, kind of that cool time. People are in the home more than coming to meetings. You got to get out there, renew, seeing those faces, getting those members out there, the new ones and the ones that have been kind of drifting to the back, the ones that are like, oh yeah, I joined this club, but I haven't been so involved or I'm busy. So renew them, renew what they came in for. Make sure that when we have new members, we have got to stay engaged. It's so imperative. When they come in, welcome them, say hello, sit with them at your meeting. And then at the end, I know I went through it as the district governor. We're chasing to retain our clubs, our membership, because that is how we survive. So again, how do we get back out there? It's important to spend some time, make sure that these members are going to stay with us, that they see the long-term goal of how fun it is to be with us, how much to enjoy being a part of our clubs, being a part of our community. There's a few statistics that I have remembered from going to convention. For every one member, new member, 35 kids are served. Can you imagine that? 35 kids. So bring in that new member and think of all those kids that we can serve. So when you look at wanting to have a social event or a WOW event, there's a lot of things that come into play. I did one last night and I'm going to reflect on it because it was fun and a bit of a, not as successful as I wanted, but I'm an optimist and I press on to greater achievements of the future. So you decide on what kind of social event you're going to have. What we decided, or I decided is to have a scavenger hunt online. You've got to pick a specific day. We decided to pick for ours a Friday. Everyone's usually home from work. It's the weekend. I assigned myself as a chairperson because I wanted the experience of how to utilize this, how to put it together. And here's the things. You've got to welcome the idea that you can make mistakes, which I did. But we utilized Facebook. We utilized our webpage. We didn't utilize Twitter or Instagram, but again, it was a learning process. But I did get information out. I got people from places I didn't expect, and that's what it is. We got to keep trying and to get this information out there. Invite your friends, invite family. I invited my best friend from high school. I didn't think she'd come. She came and she was one of the winners. Now, what do? You've got to get an application to that person who enjoyed themselves, who won at this event or was a big participant. Now we've got that one new person maybe. And at the beginning, what you do is you give a short talk, and this is at all events. And this doesn't have to be lengthy. It's just short and sweet. Who are we as Optimists? What are we doing? Who are we serving in our community? Why is it so amazing to be part of this amazing international organization? Welcome all Optimists worldwide. We can reach out everywhere. I'm in Southern California. You guys are in the Midwest, Canada, East Coast. We can reach so many people now with Zoom. And at the end, if you're in person, you've got to get those applications to people. Follow up with them. If you're online, you can email them. You can send them as a text. But it's about following up, because that's the purpose, to bring members into our group. And like I said, follow up with them. So I'm going to send an application to my best friend, and I hope to have her into the club because she was a winner. So different kinds of events. So ours was a scavenger hunt. I have a club that we had it in of 100 members, and we only had three of the members were our judges and me, and then two other members from our club. Otherwise, I had 3 people from Northern California, Pacific Northwest, and my best friend. But it was a lot of fun. We're now working on having a bingo night. They do, okay, I'm gonna say this right. In Canada, they play euchre. Did I say it right? Denise and her crew play this game. It's a card game. And she'll explain when we get to Facebook, great ways to boost and get more members. The Joy Kids here in SoCal, they had a paint night a couple weeks ago. Do a baking night or a cooking night. At Christmas, one of my clubs, we did a video and we had a happy hour, and we had one of our members who used to be a mixologist, made a fun holiday drink for our dinner. You've got to have interactive speakers there for some of these events, whether it's internet safety, which is still an issue. I'm a retired police sergeant. It's still an issue out there. You can also talk about the safety of your financial with our elderly and not becoming victims. And again, having our Boy Scouts, the Eagle Scouts, the Girl Scouts, they're always got something going on. Again, one new member, think of 35 kids that we're reaching out to. Next. So again, we talked about the different kind of things you can do in person, the things you can do online, and how many people you can reach out to. And as you continue, like I said, we are on the precipice of making some huge changes. I'm planning on being with us this summer, because I think at the convention, we're ready to be together, but we're still going to have people that aren't going to be as comfortable. So it's important to think, how do we engage everybody? And I'll give you an example. One of the things with our game last night is we thought, how do we bring in more members? And how do we engage more? So we're changing our club situation. We're going to have one meeting on Zoom a month, or a week, 2 meetings in person, and then we're going to do an event one Thursday a month. So again, you're bringing people in, you're trying some new ways to engage your members, to keep them recruited, to keep them engaged, to keep them revitalized. So as we're out there sharing who we are and WOW, we want to tell them, you know, making it a community of service. We're packing backpacks, saving aluminum cans. The food drives are huge right now. There's one here, I live in the city of La Mesa. There's one coming up in a couple weeks. It's the city is doing it. If the city can do it, why not one of our Optimist clubs? The TriStar Start Sports are huge. These programs are youth appreciation. We are just finishing up club oratorical. I had in my club 22 kids. That was 22 kids times 2 parents, times a couple teachers. I had 60 kids on my Zoom for the competition. What an absolute marvelous opportunity as we're starting this competition to say, hey, and here's who we are as Optimists. We're going to be awarding some scholarship to our winners here, but you as mom and dads and you as kids, come be part of us. Come be a part of what an amazing group we are. And of course, there's all these activities such as the car shows, which I'll show you in a minute. And the ice skating. There's a plethora of things that we could do. We've just got to start revitalizing and getting it together for WOW. So when you do turn this into an event, we've got to tell them what we're up to. We want people to know who we are. So I found these online, and they've got the car show down in Jackson. Put up a display. Hey, here's a car show that goes on. This is what we do. Their center one, what we've been doing to support our restaurants, because they have supported our events, is we do a grab and go or grab and dine. We let the restaurant know, hey, we're going to order from you tonight. We take a quick picture. And since we have been in lockdown, we have been in the paper, front to second page, our little local paper, for about 5 or 6 months. In fact, somebody said last night at our scavenger hunt, how come the Optimists are always in the paper? It's a Rotarian owned paper too. We're like, because we're out there, we're supporting our community. And then look at Ancaster. Even during the pandemic, look, you can see them all masked up. They're out there, they're doing the food drive, they're getting pictures out. We can do things during difficult times because why? We're optimists. Go ahead. So again, put together this display sign, make sure they know who we are. Whether you're doing trash pickup along the freeway, we're having these marvelous conventions where we meet and fellowship with friends. The one picture there too is we were making blankets for kids at Children's Hospital, sporting events. People want to know what we're doing. They're like, okay, well, what's an optimist? Okay, you're a friend of youth, but what does that mean? We do need to explain to them, tell them. Pictures tell 1,000 words, 1,000 words. So take it, put them up on your Facebook, put them up on your webpage, put them on your Instagram, put them on your Twitter. Those are things I'm still learning, the Twitter and the Instagram. Facebook, I'm doing okay. But again, I say that because it's a part of a learning curve. We just got a new member. She left the media world to be a cop. She is amazing. Like Denise is saying, we thought, God, do we want to tap into her with her media background? I mean, she was a newscaster. She loved it. She says, I can do that in a flash because it's something she is comfortable with. But we're going to engage her with something else too. So it's awesome. We don't want to burn her out on the social media area, but we appreciated that she goes, no, I know it. I can help you with it. So as we look at these new members, again, be aware, do they want to do it again? So one more thing, Denise, one of the things I was writing notes, one, coming to see you guys this morning, all green, I thought, what didn't I read in the email? So I went really quick and I'm like, they said get dressed up, but I went to bed late, got up late this morning, no excuse, I got my background. But my point here is this, we've got to share what we do. So this is so adorable. I mean, maybe that's not the right word. It's fun, it's lively, it's engaging. I appreciate seeing this. And I think, okay, how do I utilize this? How do I share this with my clubs or my district or a zone? We need to share our information. Don't just keep it to ourselves because that's how we continue to regenerate, rejuvenate, re-engage. So I'm excited about this. I'm thinking, okay, maybe not in time for St. Patrick's Day, do something, but Easter, 4th of July. So share what you do, the mistakes and the successes. Like I said, I told Denise in a text, or I don't know if I said it to her yet, I've got to figure out what I did with the Facebook that I didn't get out to enough people, but it's all worth trying because we press on to the greater achievements of the future. So thank you again for your time. We're excited about WOW. Excited that you're all hearing about us and see how things keep on moving.
Let's start with Facebook. These social media is so important and so vital in this day and age. And there's a couple of things that you need to know about social media. First off, different audiences are different types of social media. So for example, Facebook, not a lot of the youth are on Facebook, some of them are, but they tend to be more on Instagram, Snapchat, because they feel like Facebook has now become their parent social media. That is not to say that we shouldn't be using it, because quite frankly, Facebook is one of the cheapest and easiest ways to do and to promote your events and activities, because there are so many people on it and there's so many ways to promote it. Instagram is also great for promotion, especially if you want to tag and get at those younger people. So I'm going to show you how to create an event in Facebook so that you can then promote it, you can boost it, you can do whatever you want with it. If you look at, I am on, so our awesome Optimist Club of Burlington is a club for adults with exceptionalities or special needs. And as you can see, when you go to your page, you go into events. Click here, you go into events. Now I don't have any upcoming events, but I have a past event. And so what you can do with this event, and I'm just going to click into this and then I'm going to show you how to create an event. So if I go into my event, I am able to invite friends. So you can see I 22 people, 42 were interested, 64 people had responded. There was actually people off of Facebook who had responded. But as you can see, I can see all of this information and I can have discussion happening within my event. So what this allows you to do is to have you and your members invite their friends to attend your event. So, but what I want to show you is how do you create an event? Because it is so easy. So if I go in here and I click on create new event. And so then I need to decide, is it online or in person, right? So let's say for now, because a lot of our events are still online. So we're going to create an online event. So is it a free event or is it something that guests have to pay to attend? Well, let's say it's a free event. So then what we're going to do is we're going to give it a name. I'm going to call it My Great Event. We're going to give it a start date and a start time. And then we might enter an end date and an end time as well. We don't want this at 3:45 a.m. Let's do 3:45 p.m. would be better. And then you're going to click your location. Now, if it's a Zoom, see what's really cool about this is if it's an in-person, you can actually search. So let's say I wanted to have it in person. There's all of the places close to me that I might attend it. So I could put that in if I wanted to. If this was an in-person or not. Let's say I'm going to say, you know what, we're going to do it at the Burlington Performing Arts Center. So here's the Performing Arts Center. So then you want to say, is it public? Is it private? This one is public because it's on my page. And then I can put a description, you know, please attend our great event that is going to benefit children in Burlington. Okay. I can't spell. But, you know. And then you're going to go through what is the category, right? Is it art? Is it comedy? Is it dance? Is it gardening? So you can kind of pick, what do I think this is? Okay, you know what? This is going to be art. And then I would click next. That would be helpful. So click next. And then I'm going to say, how are people going to be able to event? Is it a Facebook Live? Is it an external link, meaning you're doing a Zoom? Or is it other, right? So I'm going to say other because I don't have a Zoom link set up, but you could collect, if you hit Facebook Live, it's actually going to give you a reminder to start your Facebook Live event as you get close to that. It's really kind of cool the way it does that. So I can also update the cover. So if I want to upload any image that I want to upload, I'm going to upload for now, drag it, reposition it. And then I'm going to create in the event settings. Do you want to show the guest list? I want to do it so that anyone can post. I don't want just admins posting. You can do it so that posts have to be approved by a host or a co-host and let people ask you questions about this event over Messenger. So those are the things I'm going to click. And then as you can see, here are the details about the event. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to create the event. So it's creating the event for me. So the cool part about this that I really like is then once it's created, I can then share the event, or I can go in, and if I want to interact as myself, rather than, I can then start inviting my friends. So your friend list comes up and I can start inviting my friends. I'm not going to invite them because they're going to think I'm crazy. Well, I'll invite my son. He'll think I'm crazy anyway. He already does. So it'll start inviting any of your friends, and any of your members can go in and start inviting people. And then you can start posting information about this event right here in the event. So the other cool part about this is I can boost this. So I can turn around and say, okay, I want to boost. And those of you who are not familiar with boosting, what Boost does, it is a paid advertisement, but you set your budget. So here I'm just going to show you, if I want to boost my event to increase responses, I will turn around and I can then edit the description. I can edit any of the information, and you'll see an ad preview. You can then pick your audience. So my audience is living in Canada, Burlington, 50 or plus 50 miles, Ontario, age 18 to 65 plus. Let's say I said, you know what I really want is I want it to be, yeah, I want it to be there, but I also want to target Buffalo, right? So I might say, you know what, I'm going to target Buffalo. I guess it helps if I spell it. I'm also going to target Buffalo, right? And then my potential reach is 5.3 million people. If I decided to define that. The detailed targeting that I can do, just scroll down a little bit, is if I go into here, I can then detail people's demographics. So do I want to target parents, all parents, or do I want to target parents of certain age? Do I want to target people with certain interests, with certain behaviors? So there's all kinds of things that I can then narrow down my targeting. Now, keep in mind, what happens when you boost this is this becomes an ad on your Facebook. So you don't want to narrow your target too far so that people don't get the boost. So then I'm going to set a budget. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, you know what? How long do I want this to run? Do I want it to run right up to the date of our event?
Denise?
Yep.
Just stop. The question is, what did you have to go to order to get a boost? So we can go back for a sec there if we don't lose that.
So
train
let
of
me
thought.
close this. In order to boost, so you see, when you go into your event, so into your main event, there's a button right here that says Boost Event. And that's what you will click on in order to boost your actual event. I'm going to show you how to boost a post in a minute too, but this takes me into boosting my event where I just was. So here's where you can set your budget, right? So if I said I'm going to do $45 Canadian, that will be for your total ad. You will reach between 2,000 and 6,000 people per day. So what that means is that if I boost it, if I boost this, I will then get reports. The key to this is your maximum budget. If you're not reaching these people, you only get charged for what you actually reach. So you could set your budget at $20. You could set your budget at whatever you want to set your budget at and however long you want it to boost for. I'm obviously not going to boost this event. It's not a real event. Want to leave. So it's so easy to start. You can then share the event. So I could turn around and say, I want to share the event on the Awesome Optimist Club of Burlington. I could also share this event on any of the other pages or on my own page. So that's the other neat, like if I interact as myself, so this is really key here. If you are the manager of your Facebook page, up in this corner, you'll see you can either interact as the manager of the Facebook page or as yourself. When you interact as yourself, that's when you can invite people. And so it's much easier. And when I hit share, I can then share to a news feed, share to a page, share to a group, share on a friend's profile. So if I want to share it to a page, all of the pages that I manage now come up and I could share to any of those pages. So realistically, if this were an event, I would share it to my Global Optimist, my Awesome, probably my district page, my Burlington page. Why not Special Olympics? But this
Denise, oh,
yeah.
sorry.
So,
Denise,
no, go ahead. Yeah.
One of the questions is, okay, so one of the questions is a good one too. What should we think about with regards to a limit of how many people we reach out to? Lauren made a comment, usually 50, but then the other piece was, and then how do you pay for your boost?
Okay, so limit depends on your event and your activity, quite honestly, because it depends on what your capacity is for the number of people you can have to attend, right? Now, I don't tend to limit my boost because realistically, oh, look, Matthew's responded that he's going.
Denise, that
Yeah.
was not number of people you invite. Facebook will lock you out and put you in Facebook jail if you try to invite too many people.
It will, but you can get up, it's actually up to 300.
Oh, here it's only been 50 when I've made
Really?
an event. Yeah.
Okay, so I've been able to invite up to 300, but you're absolutely right. It will lock you out if you try and invite too many people. That's where you want to start sharing it and getting your other club members who share friends. Like, so if I looked at this, Jody Thomas Capriccioni, who's one of my friends, she's actually one of my Optimist members. I would invite her, but not invite people she has in common with me and get her to invite the people who are in common with me, right? So what you sometimes need to do is have a strategy with how you invite people. And the way that you pay, honestly, I have my credit card on file with Facebook. You can pay via PayPal or credit card. And so because I manage so many pages, I have a credit card on file that allows me to boost, and then I submit an expense to my club. But if your club has a PayPal account, now I don't know, again, in Canada, we can't use Zelle or in some of those others. So there may be other methods of payment. And let me show you how you get those methods of payment. Just give me 1 second and I'll show that to you. If that here it is, Facebook. So ads payment, I will go in here and I will set up how I want to pay for any ads that I place. So in my payment settings, as you can see, I could have a PayPal or I have a Visa, or I could add other payment methods. And I'm just going to see what comes up. So here, because I'm in Canada, it's obviously not going to show up, but you can save your payment methods when you go into your settings in your profile. And that way you can put a spending limit on it. You can do whatever you need to do in terms of making sure that you can pay it. Again, this is set up to my personal account. I'm not sure, I think you can set it up to a business account, but I only have it set up to my personal account. So let me just show you, hopefully this is, I'm not going too quick for you, but let me just show you. So if I wanted to, let me go into here. If I wanted to boost a specific post, right? So if I look again here, you can boost a very specific post. Here, if I scroll down and let's say I wanted to boost this specific post, then again, I would just, there's a blue button here that says boost post. And you can go in and it takes you to the same sort of information. What do you want to boost? Who is your audience? So because this is an American based page, you can see that it comes up with a slightly different demographic for where I am. But then you can go in and again, decide on how much budget you want to put, how long you want to post it. If you also want to put it on Instagram. So if you're connected to Instagram, because you can connect your Facebook to Instagram. So this allows you to be able to boost posts and everything on Facebook. So again, I'm going to stress that Facebook really is a really great way of using to advertise, etc. So one other thing I'm going to show you really quick. How many of you know how to use publishing tools? So publishing tools is a really cool, it allows you to schedule posts. So when you go down the side, like I just went down, let me just go back and I'll show it to you. Sorry, I have so much stuff open, my computer's a little slow. If I go scroll down my side when I'm on my page and I go to publishing tools, I can see both what I have posted in the past and what I have scheduled to post. So, and what it also shows me is what my post engagement has been and how many people I've reached. So this one just posted this morning, but I've already had one post engagement. So if I wanted to look at my scheduled posts, I don't have anything scheduled, but I could create a post to schedule. So let's say I want to, let's say I'm going to upload a photo to schedule it. I'm going to schedule this post to post tomorrow. So it's going to post tomorrow at 12. I can change the time and I'm going to schedule it. I'll show you in a minute how you link your, I don't know why it keeps doing this to me. There's some glitch in Facebook, but so now what will happen is if I go back into scheduled post, you'll see this is scheduled to post tomorrow. I do this every Sunday for all of the pages that I manage and I post all week. So that way I don't have to go in and out. That doesn't stop me from doing posts, ad hoc posts or other people posting, but this just means I have everything scheduled for the week. So how to link my Facebook and my Instagram? That's a good question because I haven't done it in a while. Let me see.
You can link from Instagram. So in Instagram, in the actual app, you can link out to Facebook and Twitter. I don't know if you can do it from Facebook. I'm not 100% sure on that, but you can do it from the Instagram app itself and link out to Facebook and Twitter.
Thank you, Michael.
And one of the other, I mean, we talk so much about social media. So in one of my clubs, we use Constant Contact because we do a weekly newsletter. And that's another avenue. So for those people that perhaps don't have a Facebook or aren't quite as social media savvy, what I did is for my event from last night is I sent out a Constant Contact with the Zoom link several times. So there's lots of ways: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Constant Contact, or emails and things. And in fact, I just want to share that when I got two of my players last night, what they did while we were setting up to get ready for the scavenger hunt, they did exactly what you did, Denise. They went in and started inviting people. And that's how I got a governor-elect and from Pacific Northwest and a secretary treasurer out of Northern California. Just they were coming home from work, they had some time and they played the game with us. So
absolutely, it's really important that you share the information. And I use MailChimp, like whatever you want to use, it's a quick and easy way. The other piece of it is sharing it to groups, sharing it, wherever you want to can share it, your website. All of that sort of information is really, really important. So one of the other things that we talked about was making sure that we had an application ready to give them if it's an in-person. Well, that's a bit of a challenge if you're virtual. And we have a club here in the city next to me, Oakville, and some of you may know Vicki Mains Hill. She has been so successful in recruiting off of Facebook. She has recruited 50 something new members over the past few years, and 40 or more of them have been from Facebook. And part of it is because when people are interested in joining, they want to fill out the form and do it right away. And in a virtual world, we obviously can't give them a piece of paper. So what you can do is you can create a Microsoft form. There you go. A Microsoft form where they can automatically, and all of this is in those instructions, where they can fill out their form for their application, their membership application right online. So I have actually created one. And again, in those instructions is step by step. And as you can see, there is a link that I can share. So if I hit share, there's a link that I can then post and send to people, or I can, put their email address and then send it to them. But what you can do is it has all the same questions that are on our membership form. And this is what it looks like. So as you can see, they go in, it has my logo, Optimist Club of Burlington. They enter their information. And then down at the very end, they hit submit. And so all the same questions. What projects or programs do you want us to consider? Your membership interest finder is all there. I'm not going to walk you through how to make that because I don't have time, but it is in the instructions that I posted. And then the cool part about it is your responses will be here. You'll be able to see, we don't have responses yet because I only created this the other day, all of your responses in one space. So you can then print off or do whatever you need to do with the applications. But this is a quick and easy way to get people to be able to fill out the application online when you're doing virtual events. You can do this through Google Docs, which I also walk you through in the directions, how to do it in Google Docs as well. So I did do Microsoft Forms and Google Docs, depending on your preference. You could put this link, if you wanted to, on your Facebook page, on your website, wherever you want them to go and fill out so the information comes to you.
Denise, a question is asked, can you share that form file in the Dropbox, in the chat box?
I can.
Thank you.
1 second, and I will copy the link and put it in the chat box. There's a couple things I want you guys to keep in mind when we're talking about recruiting new members. We have made it very clear this is not a one and done. This is something we need to be doing all year. So one of the things Diana talked about is turning every single event that you run into a recruiting opportunity. And how you do that is you either have a physical display of pictures with about your club and information about your club. And again, like I said at the beginning, people join your club. They do not join Optimist International. They join your club. So you want to stress what are the great things your club does. If Sean Mueller were here, I would get him to tell you what his generation, those of you who know Sean Mueller, and Michael, maybe you'll agree with this, how he feels about meetings. So the younger generation, or every generation, doesn't want to sit in meetings. They would rather be out doing. So this is really important when you're having these WOW events, when you're out cleaning your local park, when you're out, doing your internet safety, doing your youth appreciation, whatever you do in your community, make sure you have something that says who you are, your banner, some pictures, and have people there who are ready to talk about it. Take 5 to 10 minutes and explain who you are. But again, explain who your club is, not who Optimist International is. Explain who your club is. And you might want to do a PowerPoint presentation and have it running on a laptop. If the event that you have allows you to do that, you can put together a really quick presentation that has pictures of your club and in action and the things that you're doing. But it's really important. Everything you do in the community is an opportunity to recruit a new member. So Diana mentioned my euchre nights. Those of you who don't know euchre, it's a card game that you play in partners. And we have, when we're able to, the third Friday of every month, we do a euchre tournament. And so what that means is that we get our people together, our members, non-members, whoever's interested, come and playing euchre. And we usually have 20 to 30 people. One week we decided we boosted it on Facebook. We thought, let's just see what this boost does. We had 12 new people who knew nothing about Optimist International or about Optimist Club of Burlington, who just saw our boost and came and played with us. That's 12 potential new people. So Diana said her scavenger hunt was not as successful as she wanted it to be. That doesn't mean you stop trying. We need to keep doing it, because just because something doesn't work the way you want it to the first time doesn't mean you give up. You keep trying and you keep trying and you keep trying different things and do those kind of lessons learned at the end of it to say what worked, what didn't work. So you want to make sure that you're doing all of that. The other piece of it that's really important is that you are inviting existing members and potential new members. So like Diana said, we want to re-engage, revitalize, renew those members. Sometimes you'll get a member who, you know what, they faded into the background because they got really busy with other stuff. And then you invite them out, offer to pick them up. If someone doesn't join your club at your first WOW event, invite them again. Keep inviting them. I always do the example of the Big Bang Theory, where Leonard just wore Penny down and Penny eventually just married him. Okay, this is what we're doing with potential new members. No, I'm kidding. But keep inviting them. Invite them. Invite them. They will see how much fun and how great your club is. Couple more things. How many clubs have joy clubs? These are your new members, your new adult members. This is really super important. They're already invested in optimism. They've already been impacted. You can't let them go. You need to bring them into your club. So again, my Oakville example, Vicki created this club within a club called her Young Professionals Club. When a Joy member graduates out of the Joy program, they immediately are invited to join the Young Professionals Club within a club, which go up to age 30, and their membership is free for the first year. Then and that club meets online, that club within a club meets online, because these kids are going off to colleges and universities all over Canada. So then when they're ready, they then join their traditional Oakville club. Because what Vicki realized, which is what every club should realize, is that you can't bring a teenager, 18, 19-year-old into a club where all you have is 67, 50, 60, 70-year-olds. They're going to be lost. They're not going to have the same experience. So we need to make sure, and Vicki has almost 100% of her Joy kids join her Oakville Optimist Club. We need to do that. These are great leaders. These are the people that we want in our organization. I mean, we want everyone, but honestly, Joy should be an easy sell. They're already here. There's a concept in sales that says it's easier to maintain an existing customer than to recruit a new customer. It's the same in membership in the volunteer organization. It is easier for us to maintain and to revitalize, renew an existing member, including a Joy member, than it is to recruit a brand new member. And one thing that if Mikey were here, he would make sure to tell you is make sure your club puts a budget in for these WOW events. It doesn't have to be a big budget. It can be whatever your club can afford. Our club, we're not a big club. We have about 14 members. We budget around, $200 to $300. We buy refreshments and snacks and that sort of stuff. So we don't put a lot of money into our euchre nights, but they're wildly successful. And the one thing that Mike always tells, which I think is great, is you hear these clubs that have thousands of dollars in their bank account and they're folding. And you say to them, why are you folding? You have all this money. We don't have members who are interested. Then throw a big party and recruit new members. You have the money. Throw a party, recruit new members so that your club doesn't have to fold. We need to stop thinking in the traditional way. We need to start, sorry, my son is taking a picture of me with my bow tie and he's making me laugh now. We need to start thinking that so let me say, remember, I'm not telling you not to do your dinner meetings, not to do your now banquets, not to do any of that. That works absolutely for some clubs. What I'm telling you is you need to augment it and add the social and the fun stuff and onto that. We can't be a one-note organization. We have to provide multiple opportunities for people to get involved and for people to be able to volunteer. As I said at the beginning, to me, this organization is the greatest organization in the world. We have the opportunity to impact our future generation, unlike most organizations do. Whether it's through our Joy program, our oratorical, our junior golf, whatever it is, we can help these future leaders become the leaders they need to be. But the only way we do that is with new members. So I'm going to open it up to questions. And I will tell you that Diane and I are willing to come to anywhere you want us to come to present. That's the great thing about Zoom. I can be in Canada, she can be in California, and we can present anywhere. If you want us to present to your club, and we do have a shortened version, this is the lengthened version. If you want us to present to a district specifically, a zone, just let us know. We really want to get this WOW program out because we think that it's a great thing. I am going to put a little plug in for those of you who may not have seen it, that we have an Optimist podcast that was released last week. And the first episode is on the history of optimism. I put it in the Facebook group, Optimist International, the members and clubs and members group. But if you're looking for that information, you should be able to find it on any of your favorite podcast apps. I know it's on Spotify, it's on Amazon, but that is another thing that the membership committee has been working on, is a podcast, and it's another way to reach another generation and another set of potential members. Mary, the link form requires you to sign in to school or business Microsoft account. Huh. Oh, can search Microsoft. Okay, good. I created it with my university account, so maybe there's a hiccup, but I need to make it more open. Anyway, any questions that anyone has? Comments?
Denise, if you want, I can show them what that young man said about that about these meetings, if you'd like.
That would be fantastic. Do you have a recording of Sean telling them how much he loves meetings?
I believe I do. It's so important. A presentation is absolutely one. You've done a great job. But it's interesting that our WOW has to start right at home. It has to start with our clubs. And this is the reason why. Now, Sean, it was a junior optimist, and he moved to the big boys and girls with us. But Denise asked him specifically, how do you feel about meetings in the Optimist Club, guys?
Sean, how do you feel about being in meetings?
They are absolutely boring. As a past Joy member and a new adult member, Optimist Club's meetings, the standard old-fashioned meetings, are not what the new generation wants. So we really want to focus on bringing out what we can do immediately right now, which is doing the service projects immediately, not sitting in meetings and learning about what you do, but show us what you do by allowing us to help you. So yeah.
So, just gotta live and learn, listen and see. Not all our meetings are boring, but if you want to get the youth in there, you want to make a difference, think about wowing your members first and then wow your prospects.
Thank you. I'm so glad you had that. Matthew, you want to come here for a second? I'm putting my son on the spot. Tell them about going from a Joy member to an adult member. Those of you who don't know, this is my son, Matthew, and he is the past Junior Optimist International president from 2017-18, and he's now an adult member. So tell them.
It's a pretty big jump. Like the juniors, like a lot of their meetings are more like fun filled, if that makes sense. Like there's usually like more openness for like fun activities during the meetings. Like you'll typically see like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Kahoot and stuff like that, but it's just like fun type of activities and stuff like that. It's more on the Joy side, less about business, more about like social. So getting out there and seeing your friends that you get to see once a month or once every 2 weeks. It was a big jump to go to the adults. Because the adult meetings are very much more business focused and business oriented, which to each to their own. But as long if to attract those new members, though, it might be smart to maybe throw in some activities or some like try to appeal to them through some of those fun kind of things, especially for like a college, like a university student like me. It's like I don't have a lot of I like always like my attention span is very, very like short because I have spent so much time on assignments and stuff that having that kind of fun activity during the meeting would actually keep me engaged. So
Thank you.
I noticed.
All right.
And one thing too, I think my biggest thing that I want to send out is we really are at a changing time, as Russ and Nick were saying, from pause to play. And as I said, it's almost a paradigm shift, you know, the precipice of this. We're all coming out, we're all getting shots, we're ready to be out there with friends and family. There'll be some adjustments, but how do we as optimists grab hold of that, this moment to engage our family, our friends, our neighbors, and get involved in our community and do things? You know, let's be the clubs that just say, we're ready and let's get out there and get those new members, new clubs, because people are hungry to be out in their communities and helping out, being involved. So thank you again for your time today.